Professor Milkman is an assistant professor of operations and information management. She received her PhD from Harvard University's joint program in computer science and business. In 2011, Poets and Quants named her one of the world's best 40 business school professors under the age of 40. Her research documents various ways in which individuals systematically deviate from making optimal choices. And she's particularly interested in understanding what factors lead people to undersave for retirement, exercise too little, eat too much junk food, and watch too many lowbrow films. Recently, she's also begun to study race and gender discrimination, focusing on how a decision's context can alter the manifestation of a bias.
Professor Milkman is talking about holding the Hunger Games hostage at the gym.
I'm going to tell you about an idea for solving problems that are faced by people like Liz Lemon, the lead character on NBC's former hit show 30 Rock. In case you aren't familiar with Liz Lemon's persona, let me give you a quick profile. Liz is a 30-something exec who works too much, exercises too little, and is generally a disaster when it comes to self-control. I'd like to make two plausible assumptions about Liz. First, assume Liz wishes she exercises more, but she lacks the willpower. Second, assume Liz has a thing for trashy novels, but she feels guilty wasting her time reading junk. I'm going to tell you about an idea for solving both of Liz's problems that I call temptation bundling. The idea is simple. What if Liz only allowed herself to read trashy novels when exercising at the gym? She would stop wasting time at home on literary garbage and start craving trips to the gym to find out what happens next in her latest novel. Not only that, but she'll enjoy her workout and her novel more combined. She won't feel guilty spending time on the novel, and time will fly at the gym. So, although it's incredibly important to increase exercise, temptation bundling isn't just a way to help people exercise more and waste less time. We struggle with what I call want-should conflicts throughout our lives, like whether to go out drinking or study, whether to save or spend, and whether to eat healthy or unhealthy food, and temptation bundling can help. For example, imagine you crave Bobby Flay's burgers and also have a crazy Aunt Tilly who you should spend more time with. What if you only allowed yourself to go to Bobby's Burger Palace with Aunt Tilly? You would spend more time with Aunt Tilly, and you would eat fewer burgers when you should be dieting. Relatedly, imagine only allowing yourself to get a pedicure when catching up on case reading, or to buy a Starbucks when heading to study at the library. Temptation bundling can help with many want-should struggles. I ran a study at Potruck Gym to see if temptation bundling works. I recruited about 200 gym members to participate in a 9-week study and randomly assigned all recruits to one of two groups. In the temptation bundling group, participants received a loaned iPod and selected 4 audio novels from a list of books known to be highly addictive. After selecting novels, participants completed a 30-minute workout while listening to the beginning of one of the novels. But if they wanted to hear what happened next, they would have to come back to the gym where their iPod was locked and waiting for them in a monitored locker. In a control group, we also had participants complete a 30-minute workout at the beginning of our study. But instead of receiving audio novels, we gave them an equal value gift certificate to Barnes & Noble. The question was then, does temptation bundling increase exercise? To find out, we compared the average frequency of gym visits among temptation bundling group participants and control group participants over our 9-week study. The exciting news is that temptation bundling increased exercise rates by 50% in the first 7 weeks of our study, amounting to about 1 extra gym visit every 2 weeks. And as I said, this was sustained for 7 weeks, which is great news. But it turns out participants went home at Thanksgiving break, maybe drank too much, forgot about their novel, and when they came back to school, the effect was gone. So this is neat on the one hand because it suggests that wanting to know what happens next in your novel is driving our effect, because cravings are reduced by forced separation. But it also means we have more work to do to figure out how to re-engage people with exercise after time away from the gym. Okay, a natural question that Liz's boss Jack would ask is, will anyone pay for temptation bundles? More specifically, if we gave people an iPod preloaded with addictive content, would anyone pay us to take it away from them and lock it at the gym? This should be a value-destroying option because it means paying someone to restrict your access to a possession you could otherwise use freely. But we found that people will pay for restrictive temptation bundles. At the end of our study, 61% of participants said they would pay us to take away their own iPod containing addictive novels and lock it up at the gym in a monitored locker for a month. This highlights the commercial viability of this idea. I'd like to wrap up by talking about 2 ways that I think these ideas could be commercialized, so take notes after Ethan's suggestion. One would involve a company like Netflix, let's call it Gymflix, that gave you access to TV shows at home and at the gym. Imagine a feature that allowed you to set aside certain TV shows for gym-only access. Our research suggests this would be very popular. You could also do this with iPhones and let people choose certain geolocations, like the gym or Aunt Tilly's, where they could or could not access certain content. In conclusion, I hope you're excited about the idea of temptation bundling, and I hope this idea can help you solve some of your own self-control struggles. Thank you.